IHMS Weekly English Program. This is a weekly international Harari Media Services English program that focuses on different aspects and issues related to Harar and the Harari people, be it social, political, economic, or historical facts. In a nutshell, it deals with everything Harar in conjunction with affairs in Ethiopia. It is intended to reach Harari and non-Harari viewers and audiences alike around the globe. It is informative, educative, and above all, it is meant to present facts and build capacity at all levels. As witnessed by various governments and international organizations, undeniably, Harar is a city-state of peace within the Ethiopian galaxy and the African universe. This weekly English program was created to promote peace and humanity to its viewers, allowing them to have people-to-people relationships of peaceful coexistence in Harar and Ethiopia at large. As such, today we have the following episodes for you.
IHMS Special Commentary. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Harari Indignation or Grievances by Zuber Abdurahman, Chairperson of the Harari Community of Ottawa. It is public knowledge that Harari's political, social, and economic rights have been eroded deeply during the last 4 stormy years by the works of some conspiratorial and nefarious forces who operate under the guidance of some government officials. During these dishonorable maneuvers that made us victims on our native land, farmlands have been expropriated, school compounds were transformed into illegal settlement outposts, private homes and lands were stolen in brazen daylight, and businesses were either looted or burned to the ground, all under the systematic administrative impunity that has reigned in the city. Even cultural costumes and styles, including numerous heritage gems that represent the community's history and cultural identity, are not spared from the synchronized cultural, political, and economic wars. The buffer zone, delineated by UNESCO to preserve the architectural integrity of the city and to conserve its heritage values of all, is also violated at many levels. In the debacle, the federal and regional government officials have immensely failed Hararis from the onset by denying the due legal protection in all the aforementioned and other related accounts. This amounts to gross violations and illegal transgressions of Harari's civil rights to live and thrive in peace and liberty on the land of our ancestors. Against the backdrop of all the abuses and rights violations Hararis were forced to shoulder, recently an author of a book called Utopia in Cahoots, with some fringe elements from Silt Zone, emerged seemingly to address the cumulative socio-political grievances that society garnered since the start of the regional administrative system in Ethiopia. Utopia is a 500-odd-page book written, plagiarized by engineer Khalid. The book is nothing but a plagiarized and fabricated version of history brought into the scene to satisfy the convoluted ego of the author and his supporters who want to see Harar without Hararis and Hararis without history. Since 1993, Siltes have been repeatedly contemplating through a series of mass political agendas that they dare not to put forward openly, but try to dog-whistle the federal government on their long-standing ambitions to form a regional government fractioning from the southern agglomerate of nations, nationalities, and people. To justify and bring their ill-conceived stance into the political light, the purposefully incorporated duo first start to inflate and aggrandize their tribe beyond the limits of what a rational mind can grasp, and secondly, they indulged in reorienting history on terms favorable to their ambitions by erasing Hararis from history books. Though the move carries no weight and is irrelevant and inconsequential to Hararis, for it cannot make a single dent in a civilization so rich and well documented by the national and international academic spheres. Hararis have a history that spanned far more than a millennium year, with kingdoms that endured and 1886 barbaric invasion and subsequent absorption of the kingdom into the Ethiopian Empire. Hararis are direct descendants of the Harla civilization who settled in the eastern plateau of Ethiopia and established a city-state with a distinct culture through a series of kings and kingdoms. Evidence indicates commercial trade undertaken with the highland Abyssinian to the west and a network of trade routes in the east to link the mainland to the port of Zila and Berbera. Even though the exact timeline is not well documented, the discovery of some Chinese coins and pieces of pottery further suggests that trade links have reached as far as the Far East during its climax. Hararis were pioneers in terrace farming, herbal medicines, bookbinding works, coin minting, jewelry making techniques, wood and stone carving, and building permanent residences and mosques using stones and mud as mortar. With time, they acquired far better civil administrations supported by meticulously drafted taxation and land registry systems before the advent of Menelek's War of Conquest and Subjugations. The Jugal Wall and the 5 gates that still stand are historic testimony that leads UNESCO to register the city as one of the World Heritage architectural achievements. Hararis were also prolific writers since the 1200s. Many copies of the Quran and other Arabic books and manuscripts are on display in many museums in Harar and abroad. In 2017, Sana Mirza, a Pakistani scholar on Islamic art, reviewed in detail Quran manuscripts produced between the 17th and the 19th centuries in the city of Harar as part of her doctoral dissertation. In the study, she indicated that calligraphic styles and artistic touches found on the manuscripts were distinctly different from those produced elsewhere in sub-Saharan Africa, as well as across to the Red Sea and Indian Ocean, indicating Hararis to have mastered their in-house writing skills and decorative arts. The culturally rich Hararis, in all likelihood, have influenced and contributed to the advancements of urban lifestyle and the development of modern-day Ethiopia. However, the deceptive course the so-called Silte-learned stocks embarked on to play the game is very insidious to Hararis, who always consider them as one of our own, separated as a result of some unavoidable natural circumstance. Silte elites, including the author of Topia, rather than bringing forward their concerns and aspirations to the federal government directly, prefer to fabricate false historical narratives of what they are not at the expense of Hararis. At present, there are many political and social hurdles involved to form a new region in Ethiopia. Further, the current structural setup of the incumbent party does not have a conducive platform to the effect. Siltes are and will be better served as being part of the historically rich and proud Harari nation, who under some circumstances migrated to the south, either as religious scholars or as part of Imam Ahmad's army that ruled what is today called Ethiopia and beyond. Engineer Khalid and his cartel supporters have to comprehend that history can only be made through time, not pirated or purchased as daily convenience products in the market. Going forward, the honorable and principled thing to do for the engineer is to retract and rescind all the fabricated narratives employed to undermine Harari's history, and an explicit pronouncement from his supporters to condemn the misguided and unethical attempts followed that potentially create a rift between the two people who have a lot in common to share. Finally, in light of the current state of affairs of the country, where piracy of culture and history became the new normal, compounded by the unpredictable political drama that spins along the axis of the 3 dominant ethnic groups, Oromo, Tigray, Amhara, smaller nations have to stand the test of the time by working together to protect centuries-old heritages from complete demise or total absorption by the culture who holds the political power. Nonetheless, it is a common understanding that history is not an exact science, and credible disputes on some divergent views are normal and might arise from time to time, that can be subject to genuine academic debates. However, deliberate attempts to alter and dilute one's history to fit the other's distorted view is simply unacceptable. Harari unity on our history is not only desirable but essential to shield and protect our past from such writers and also from provocateurs that have crowned the social media platforms spewing betrayals and deceit. To do this, a historical society of Hararis has to be established with the stated purpose to increase the public knowledge of Harari's history through meetings, publications, and sponsored researchers on issues that range from pre- to post-occupation of our nation.
And narrated by Nasab. Videos and publications in Harari, Amharic, and English, as well as for donations, visit our website www.ihmshararimedia.com. Thank you again for listening and watching IHMS programs. Assalamu alaikum.
IHMS